Hi everyone, Mark here, and it was great to see you all at the recent Abfab Events wedding fair at Field Place. The girls have asked me to put together a little overview of the talk that we did, the marketing and the excellent exhibiting talk that we did on the morning. As I was walking around throughout the day, I spoke to a few of you, and you also said there was a lot of information there and it would be great to be able to review it. So this little video is just a short whistle-stop tour of some of the points in the talk. And by all means, please give me a call if you want to discuss them further. So the first thing we spoke about was perception. We said that perception was all. And moreover, it's not normally the customer's perception of you, it's your perception of yourself. So what we did is we spoke about getting the big stuff out of the way first. So get the price sorted out first, get clearly in your head a vision of your worth and your value of your product and service. Now, as humans, what we tend to do is we'll all have our own financial thermostat. And we tend to overlay that on what we do. So for instance, our product, we would judge it on our financial criteria to say, oh, that's expensive, that's not expensive, that's cheap, that's really good value. This can be a catastrophic mistake for some, because you either pitch yourself too high or too low. And one way to get around this is to come up with client avatars or customer avatars. Now, customer avatars can be really, really good. They're not real people, but they are based on real people. And you can generally have as many as you want. I wouldn't have too many if I were you, but maybe 3 or 4. Start small, start with 2, and then you can clearly define who you are marketing to, which type of customers you want, most definitely, rather than just having a sea of people there and accepting anybody and everybody. So the way that you can define a client avatar is by sex. Are they male? Are they female? By age, by their spending habits. Have they been customers before? And just go through the type of ideal person that you would like. And from that, then you can start and use that information to market your materials and your services to them. So definitely look at the perception, your perception of what you do, and try and have a look at it through the lens of somebody else or a customer avatar. And that way you can clearly define and hone the products and services to that particular person. And it gives you great freedom, because in the melee of an exhibition, you can look and you can visually find out by a few probing questions, you can find out if these people fit your customer avatar. And if they don't, move them on, next, and it'll save you a shed load of time, and it will really, really reap a very, very good reward. So perception is all. Also, another thing about perception is differentiate, be different. Quite often we hear, oh, there's many florists, there's many photographers, there's lots of cake designers and artists. This is a very, very strange phenomenon that we as humans do. We look and go, oh, there must be somebody else, it's competition. You know what? If you compete, there's always going to be somebody who's better than you, and always somebody who's going to be a little bit worse than you. So you can either make yourself feel really good by competing against people who are worse than you, or really, really bad by competing against people who are better than you. A much better way to approach this, rather than competing, is be creative. So create a space of one. Yes, you can still be a photographer. Yes, you can still be a florist. But what is your space of one? To explain the space of one phenomenon, think about the Queen. She has a space of one. She is part of a dynasty. She's also part of royalty. And yes, there are other queens and there are other monarchies, but she's the only Queen of England. Now, that's a really base way to describe that. But what could be your space of one? If you were a cake designer, it might be that the ingredients that you use are homegrown. there won't be many of those people. So really try and define your space of one. You might be a photographer that only uses cameras that you've designed and made yourself. So think creatively and come up with your space of one. It's really, really powerful. And it's a really, really attractive selling point for your people. Another thing about perception is quite often we will, as exhibitors and as entrepreneurs and as people who want business, we will be so desperate that we'll reel off everything that we know and how brilliant we are and what we do, and without listening. So a little top tip would be, and this is great coming from me, and I did say this on the day, is speak 50% less than you normally do and listen 50% or even 100% more, and really clearly hone in on what it is that's valuable to your customer. Try and engage with their senses and the language that they use. Create a picture, become some sort of like a poker player. See their little tells. Do they wear expensive jewelry? How do they dress? What's valuable to them? Have a chat. Probing questions will really find these things out. And this is not to manipulate them, but it is to be able to serve them much better. Which comes down to my other thing, the next point about perception. Become a servant. We are in a service industry. No matter what you do, people always put high value on great service. Oh yes, we offer great service. But what truly is great service? To be a servant to somebody is great service. So you are ideally, when you're engaging with a customer, you are their servant. Just a little caveat on that. You are not their slave. So if you're getting people who are buying on price and that's not your market, then next, move them on, because they will be trouble for you. It won't be the right fit. You ideally want to serve somebody who, A, you want to work with, B, you think you can offer massive value to. So I suppose the big thing on this is don't just take all and sundry and go through them. Really, really clearly define who you want to work with. It'll be a much better fit. The relationship won't be so adversarial about supplier and person who's paying the money. Look at that. So become a servant, but not a slave. Next on my list was our mindset. Quite often, when you have the mindset of becoming a servant, not a slave, becoming a servant, your mindset changes, because then you more easily get over any confidence issues you may have with engaging with people. It's very, very easy that if you are always questioning, am I good enough? Will they value what I do? Or there's somebody else, we've got competition. If you're a servant, your mindset changes because you are just there to serve, and that's what you do. A great little tip from a book, and I think it's from The Richest Man in Babylon or something like that. It's quite an old book, little book. I strongly recommend you get it. And it says that if you give people what they want, you can have everything that you want. So if you give people what they want, you can have everything that you want, which is really, really valuable. So that's my little thing on perception, the psychological side of things. Obviously, we can go into much more depth, but give me a call if you need to. Also, quite often at the when we come to do exhibitions, it's a crazy thing that exhibitors and you know, we go out and do exhibitions and things, and we think, right, we've paid our money, then the people should come. Now there is a part of a factor of that, but if you are not pre-planning and pre-marketing and promoting yourself before the exhibition, you are missing out on guaranteed sales. 100%. You should have people coming to your showroom, meaning the exhibition, beforehand. So all of your clients, all of your pre-clients, your marketing should all be driven towards the exhibition, because the power is in when they come and they see you and you know them, or they introduce themselves because they've got an email from you, they've got a text, you've had a telephone conversation. It's very, very powerful. So prepare, pre-market and pre-promote. Also pre-plan. What is the outcome for your day? what is it you want to get from the day? Is it just customers? Is it money? Is it bookings? What is it you want? Clearly define that, and then you've got a criteria on where to judge from. Quite often newbies will come along and they'll look at things like, is it busy? Is it quiet? Which are really, they're secondary factors. What you want is the quality of people that suit your client avatar. So don't just blindly give your money away and expect everything to be done to you. I used the example in the talk about absorbing responsibility for somebody. If we look at one of our most valuable commodities, our children, if you're fortunate enough to have them, what crazy would give total responsibility to a school for a child's education? They just can't do everything. And indeed, why would you not want to put in your own education to your child? In the same way, when you exhibit, why would you not want to put your own spin and your own spin and for how successful you are, rather than just pointing out? You'll find it really empowering. Yes, it's hard work, but that is why we are entrepreneurs. So pre-planning, know your outcomes, which leads me on to taking data. I can't stress this enough. It's amazing how many people at exhibitions don't take data and don't take notes. Although we're brilliant humans, we can't remember everything. Indeed, as I'm speaking to you now, I've got my little crib sheet, just as a little aide de memoire for me to remind me what to say. So at the end of the day, a busy day, when you've gone back and you're thinking, wow, I've spoken to a high number of people here, you won't remember every little nuance of the conversation. But if you're taking notes, or if you're uncomfortable taking notes while you're talking, once you've spoken to a potential customer, just go away, just write a couple of little notes and take notes of special things that are valuable to them, not just what date is their wedding. They're the givens, you should be doing those. But take notice of a part of the conversation that you've had with them. What were they wearing? Did they have a funny story? Is there something specific? And then when you contact them and follow up, you'll have a very, very good in, rather than it just be quite a cold, or would you buy from us, which is a crazy thing to do. So make sure that you are taking data and taking the numbers. At the minute, and these things change often, email is very, very tough. It's a very, very tough return when you blanket email. So not to get too technical too early on, if you get the database list, I wouldn't send the database list out en masse for a number of reasons. One, it doesn't look good. Two, if you send it out en masse to say 200 people, you're not hitting your client avatars. But the big one is that quite often the spam rating when you send out a mass marketing email is very high, and the return rate and the hit rate and the bounce rate can be very, very, the bounce rate is very high, the return rate is very, very low. So I wouldn't do that. I'd probably segment, more about segmentation later, segment your database and be specific, and send single emails out. Yes, it is time consuming, but we are small business owners, we are solo business owners, we're not medium sized business, and not big corporations, and that's the market we're in. So that's what we're looking for, is to do those things. With your data, also think about follow-up. Now, I said in the seminar, you should be following up. And I think some people maybe misconstrued, or perhaps I didn't explain it properly, but you should be following up at least 6 or 7 times. 6 or 7 times. And you go, Mark, wow, they're going to get annoyed, they're going to get fed up. When you follow up, you need to follow up with some sophistication. Your second follow-up may be on the same day. So you may have spoken to a person at the fair, at the exhibition, and then they wander off, and you see them again, and you go, I forgot to give you this. And then, so that's your second interaction, that's your second follow-up, and it's all about being there as a servant and as that one person that they go to. The third follow-up may be an email or a text message is if you're super savvy and you get mobile numbers, because that is where the most powerful returns are on mobile numbers, is a thank you, and perhaps from the conversation a little link to a little guide that you've written or given. Hey, hope you have a great day. Hope you've had a lot of success. You found the exhibitors or the suppliers that you wanted for your wedding. Here's some things that we spoke about that hopefully might help you. So you're not selling to them, you're still serving. The fourth interaction, it may be after a conversation, you've looked and you said, I've found some great photographs from weddings and some great ideas that will be perfect for you guys. Have a little look. And then with a little bit of space in between, just touching base. There's a great article in the paper about this, or have you seen this excellent website? It could be your website, it could be your Facebook page, but the idea is to get an engagement and create a relationship with your clients and your customers. This is super duper important. And the last one might be just before the wedding, to wish them well done. I mean, hopefully in that time, you've got such a relationship with them that they like getting your emails and they're eventually getting back to you. You'll get the signs, you'll get the no, but you need to be brave. Remember, no doesn't mean no forever. It just means no, not yet. So have a little think. There's lots of different people go. Again, your client avatars will link all of this work in. So follow up. Think about your marketing and your interaction. Can you come up with a little pitch to get you in? Can it be quirky? Can it be something different? Remember, there'll be a lot of exhibitors there saying the same things. Have a leaflet, take a leaflet. How are you? Would you like to see this? So think outside the box. Be a little bit unusual. Quite often, a great strategy is not to talk about your product at all. Is compliments are a greater, and it's not to deceive. It's literally, people love to talk about themselves. People love to hear about themselves. They like something that they've put on. So, for instance, the way they're dressing, it could be fantastic. If you're uncomfortable with that type of thing, it could be a third party. It could be, wow, have you seen the weather outside? The Great British thing. But just come up with some unusual strategies to engage in conversation. At the end of the day, it's just talking. It's really, really easy. We were born to do it and communicate really, really well. When you're adding value, quite often people will have leaflets. These leaflets are worth about not 1p, because we get them done in such big volumes, and we give them out and there's no value to them. What I would suggest is that you add massive value onto your leaflets. Without getting into a marketing critique, can you add to your leaflets, to your branding, something of real value? A suggestion for a photographer that we came up with was the leaflets could be an invitation. Now, this might be an invitation for a free photo. It could be an invitation to the studio for a chat and they get a free photo, no questions asked. Now, bear in mind, be selective who you give these things to. A little quote like, I don't give these out to everybody. There's a special one for you. Please come and see us. Obviously, if you are fortunate enough to have a studio on your photographer, this could be an invitation to get a free photo. Just come in. Once they're in there, that means, number one, that they are engaged. They want you. Then it's your job to show them your skills and your abilities and your talents, and then they will buy. Remember, my top phrase is, people don't like to be sold to, but people do love to buy. That's why the advent of the internet has been so brilliant. People can just browse. There's no hard sell. People just buy and absorb themselves, and we need to try and emulate that fact. So the key phrase is, people hate to be sold to, but they love to buy from you. Think about those. So that 2p card, or the 0.000 dot card, suddenly turns into something of massive value. Yes, it may cost you the price of a photo and some time, but if you put an advert in the paper, for 500 quid, surely an hour of your time would be worth it to get the rewards back. As with all these tips and the discussion we're having now, think of it as a buffet. Take from it what you will, but I would implore you to try these things, become creative. They're just a few ideas for you to help you make the most of your invest, to help you make the, you don't just want to throw money away. Make sure that you're pre-planned, you've got it, and also you do your follow-up afterwards. Being in business, the parameters with show business are should be very, very similar for you too. So if you are not a people person, I don't mean to be somebody who's really ebullient and extravagant and out there and an exhibitionist. You just need to have a deep love for people. So if you're not a person who likes to do that, get somebody else to do it. If you're not a person who can easily engage, get somebody else to do it. Yes, they won't sell you as well as you can sell yourself, but they do break down that first barrier and they get over the rejection. So once they're engaged with somebody, then you can come into the conversation. So think show business. You should also be shouting from the rooftops about things like client testimonials. Have them on hand. Written down in many different formats, pictures of people's weddings, shaking your hand, happy clients, testimonials, really pile it on. Awards are brilliant. They put you in that space of one to say, we're award-winning, we're an award-winning company. It really adds massive perceived value on. When we spoke about creating a space of one too, write a book. Mark, you're saying, what are you talking about, write a book? Writing a book creates for you that space of one. It gives you instant credibility and it gives you a lot of magnitude when you go, what would you feel like if, as you were speaking to somebody who you were thinking about buying from, if they suddenly said, hey, there's a copy of our book, and it might be how to have the most fantastic wedding ever, or it might be about your specialization, wedding dress design for beginners, and it could be that. What it does is it shows A, that you are a market leader, A, that you are the guru and you are the go-to person, and it also demonstrates what it takes, the level of expertise it takes, which all add values on to you. So remember, get those things in there. Have a story to tell and have lots of stories to tell. Become a storyteller, become engaging and make them exciting. They don't have to be funny if you're not a funny person. They just need to be engaging and create some empathy. Remember, you will in general get customers who are like you and who like you. Okay, so remember that. So try and tell stories that you would like to hear and create them, polish them, try them on everybody. So when you speak, it becomes second nature and believable and truthful and honest. People these days are very sophisticated. They watch a lot of TV. They won't be duped. You need to tell the truth. You need to be honest and genuine because they will see through any deceit or disguise straight away. So be truthful. You are not perfect. Let them know that. But the great thing is, it's not the fact that things will go wrong. If you've ever gone and said, oh, the wedding days, we need the perfect day. How often, in your experience being in the wedding industry, does everything go perfect? No, never, probably never. One thing to think about is things will go wrong. The value is not the fact that they go wrong, it's how you, as suppliers, put these things right. And that's the value. So if you've got a great story, it may have a negative spin on it with a positive ending. So engage and think about those things. Here's an unusual one that I added, and it was sell other people. You, whether you like it or not, are part of a culture. You're part of a business, a community. So it's very important that your reputation is good throughout the entire business. Meaning, if you can sell somebody else, the reciprocal effects are the reciprocal effect. It doesn't need to be somebody in your industry, but there is a very, very sophisticated way of getting over price issues. You may have somebody who thinks that you're too expensive. Wow. Hey, if somebody thinks you're too expensive, a great idea. Do you know what? I've got a photographer who is exactly right for you. They're lovely people. They're in the right price bracket. They're just over there. Go and have a chat with them and see there. It does two things. A, it shows that you're not desperate for the business. You may be, the bank manager may be knocking on the door, but remember, you only want to work with the people that you want to work with. If you work with people who are chipping you down on price every time, constantly nagging, moaning, it becomes bad for them and bad for you, and the whole experience is not good. Pass them on to somebody who's more suitable and find the people who are suitable to you. You do that by defining your client avatars. So think about those types of things. So recommend other people if they're in another industry. Wow, I know. So make these strong allegiances with different people. And the amazing thing that happens is, yes, it will come back to you. So give it a try. Again, remember the buffet. You don't have to do all of these things. They're just little ideas to spark your imagination as a creative entrepreneur, and hopefully one that will become very, very successful. It does three things. It shows your integrity by selling other people. It changes the culture. So when you go, there's a nicer atmosphere, and people feed off atmospheres. People remember experiences and environments. And it also widens your influence as the go-to person. It gives you the space of one, shows you've got high integrity, all things that are really, really valuable. And guess what? They cost you nothing. I think that's around about it. Just one thing to close on is, remember, we are in business, and the successful business people are people that add massive value to the marketplace. So remember that, add massive value to the marketplace. This is quite a hackneyed expression now, but we get caught up on doing the things that we do. So we're working in our business every day, doing the things that we do, but we forget quite often to work on our business, meaning polishing up what we do, polishing up our the way we present, coming up with things like the client journey, and putting them on a pathway, your pathway that you've designed. We forget to do that because we're just busy. So try and take a few moments out to plan these things. I hope you've enjoyed these little ideas. I look forward to seeing you at the next event where we can share some more ideas. And if you'd love to work with me, I run my own business. I run a couple of businesses, so I don't have much time. This is just something I enjoy doing and a passion. But I do work with a maximum of 4 people, because then I can manage my time well and I can give huge value. So if you'd like to be one of those 4 people, please give me a call. I'll be delighted to work with you. Don't worry, I've got my client avatar, so if you don't fit it, then I won't be working with you and you won't be working with me, but that's the way the cookie crumbles. But I can add massive value, and we can definitely help you out. So give me a call. My number will be on screen, or you'll be able to give me an email. I'll share my personal mobile number with you, and anytime we can do some work together, and then go from there. But just remember, my client avatar, I'm really expensive, but excellent value. Hey, I'm going to leave you with another piece of value. This is my gift to you. Are you ready for it? Here goes. That's it. Just my smile. Have a great day. Have an outstanding one. And we look forward to seeing you at the next Abfab Events wedding fair. Have a great day.